And welcome back. In today's video we are flying out the La-7, which was requested by a viewer. As you can see by the length of this video, yes, I know it is more than half an hour long. I played this plane quite a bit in the last couple of days. I really enjoyed flying the La-7, and I would highly recommend that in some point of time, all of you should fly it out. This plane is an absolute monster at lower altitudes. At 4.7 and below 3 kilometers, you significantly outclimb and outrun most enemies. The La-7 also has a very good turn rate, especially at high speeds. This makes La-7 great for energy fights and reversals. As on how I play this thing, I tend not to climb above 4,200 meters or around that altitude because the performance anywhere above 3.2 kilometers really starts to suffer. I try and bait people down to dive on me and lure them down to lower altitude, high speed tail chases so that I can try and reverse them. If I'm above an enemy, I simply just boom and zoom them. In today's video, I have some reversals and 1v1 clips, as well as several full matches with 3, 4, 5, and 6 kills. If you guys have any suggestions on planes I should fly out, I would love to hear them. Also, I am now officially part of series as a couple of days ago, and I am looking forward to uploading more videos where I squad with them to crush enemy teams. So before we get into the actual full match games of this video, I just want to show you a situation that I thought was very funny and that the enemy definitely deserved. For a bit of context, one of the two 109s diving on my tail is calling me out for running and being passive, but fighting two 109s diving on you at the same time, especially when they're F models, just doesn't go well ever, so I have a reason to run here. But after a couple minutes of running, one of the 109s breaks off, giving me a bit of separation, allowing me to have an isolated fight with this 109, and I set it for a reversal, which this plane is very good at. As you can see there, I'm pulling 11 Gs, and the 109 keeps turning with me for some reason, and because of that, I'm able to get a deflection shot and take his wing off. And now it is a 1v1 against the trash-talking 109. And he has the altitude advantage on me, but that's not really going to matter, because as long as I just shallow dive away, and just kind of get him to compress on my 6, then I am in the clear here. So, I dive under, back over his guns, turn back around, and I am now on his 6. And he is a bit faster than me here, but if he continues running away and diving rather than climbing away, then I am eventually going to catch him, because at this altitude, even though I'm a bit damaged, the La-7 is just much faster than the 109. And he's also turning, which doesn't really help his case either. So, I just gotta be patient, and I have plenty of patience here. This guy is pretty toxic, and as you can see here, I'm really catching him. And look what he does. Pretty toxic, but I thought it was funny. And just really quickly, I have one last reversal to show you. So I start off with 109F at pretty much equal altitude, equal speed. Right now, I'm just kind of rolling in front of his guns. He's starting to compress, and I can just kind of keep rolling around until he overshoots. And at this speed, I do turn better than him, especially with my flaps, and I one-shot him. So moving on to the actual gameplay, or the full matches, I start off at about 4.8 meters, or 4.8k meters. Oh my gosh, kilometers. And I choose to spike a Key 61, who is not really paying attention. I just underlead, aim a bit too low, but since I have more energy than him in this fight, I can just kind of keep itching up, and he's way too slow to dodge. He's stalled out. At high altitude, he's just not going to dodge those guns from that distance. So, I loop back down, and I see a contrail in the clouds. So I start diving towards it, assuming that he does not see me. However, I can see him kind of pitching up towards me, and so I break off. Since I have more energy, all I gotta do is go up, keep spiraling, and then all of a sudden, a 109 comes out of nowhere. Luckily, I just managed to see him in time and hit my negative elevator key, and he just overshoots. So now I'm just diving away, exiting from the higher 109 that was just attacking me. I take a quick shot on the 109 below me, and I actually take his wingtip off. And in that in that dive, with a wingtip gone, he's not going to be recovering that. He will eventually die. So now I have to evade the 109 that is originally attacking. Easily done at this speed. Now I'm on his 6, but this 109 pilot was pretty good. And as you can see, he's keeping his speed, he's not diving too much, and now he is climbing away. So after climbing and just kind of heading back towards the middle of the map, I find myself above a 109 who is on the deck fighting a Spitfire, and below a P-51 who is dogfighting a Key-44 at high altitude. But I have plenty of speed to pitch up and kind of disrupt the fight. The P-51 fails to notice me, the Key-44 gets a nice hit. I get a nice hit. Missed the second burst, but I'm way too close for the P-51 to really do anything, and I take his left wing off and set a fire. And now I'm free to dive down the 109 and help the Spitfire out. The P-51 goes down. I zero throttle because this thing has a pretty low rip speed. Most Russian planes of this BR do. You have to be careful of that. I whiffed my first shot, but the second shot lands home, and he turns into a fireball with no wings. So after slightly climbing, we have the 109, the last person on the enemy team above us, and he starts diving on me. So I level off and start shallow diving. And although it may look like he's closing very fast, it's not really going to be that dangerous, because before he gets guns on me, I will get up to speed, and he will be way too fast, and will start compressing. Whereas my elevator doesn't really compress, and I can just easily dodge him. So now I'm on his 6, but I missed the shot, and he straight lines it and starts shallow climbing away. And I'm just not going to be catching him with my current energy state. However, he does go straight up, and I'm thinking I might be able to get a cheeky shot from point 9. Almost. Just missed the first burst. He starts spiraling. I'm still climbing up. Just miss. And now I'm going to have plenty of time to stall out and start diving away before he gets guns on me again, as long as I dive steep enough. If you don't dive steep enough, then you're not really going to be able to accelerate much. But since I dive basically straight down, I have plenty of speed. We're going almost the same speed. He rips his flaps off, which is very helpful for me. And this allows me to kind of throw my plane around, and he's just not going to be able to, roll. You can see how his roll is just stuck. So I'm able to reverse the turn and get back on a 6. And he still does have more energy than me in this state. And since he goes straight up, I can kind of follow. He starts spiraling a bit. I'm trying to predict it. And it is very tough for me to get a shot, especially just trying to predict where to shoot. So I stall out. But again, I will have plenty of time to gain my speed back before he is able to come back down and get a shot on me, especially since he ripped his flaps off earlier in the fight. So I'm still shallow diving, and the lower we go, the better my engine will perform. And so, as long as I can keep dragging this fight on, I will have a better chance of winning. Again, I'm going fast enough, just dodge his guns. He's compressing, I'm not. I get a reversal, just miss. But now, I'm going to be able to follow him pretty handily here. Unfortunately, I just can't hit. Sure, I get a hit. Sure, I get 2. But he's not dead. So, I fall back down, and since he's so damaged, I'm going to have, again, plenty of time, as long as I dive steep enough, to get away from his guns. Just making sure that I don't hit the ground. I keep diving, I reach 560, and I can easily pull out of his guns. He's compressing. I turn back around, and at this point, he doesn't really have that much more energy than me, and if he goes straight vertical again, he's going too vertical here, and he's also turning. It's over for him. You see, now I'm almost starting to catch him. But since he's damaged and turning, there he goes. And that is 6, and that's GG. What a great fight this guy put up. on to the next match. We have a 109 in front of me. I decide to head on him. Be wary though, it's not the best idea to go head on in this plane as it is very fragile and fire prone, and the 20 mils ballistics aren't very good on this thing. But I do manage to get kind of lucky and take his oil tank out. His oil tank is completely empty now. And I'm contemplating kind of chasing after him, but I see an A7M in the close distance, and then Armax pings a Wyvern who is very close to me. Luckily, I have just enough separation to dive away, get some speed, and he ignores me, which is very nice. So I just kind of start shallow climbing back up. I'm most worried about the high A7M. Turning back around now, the 109, he's not going to be doing too well. He most likely has engine damage as well. Armax says he has the high A7M, so I go for the one that's low. Excuse me, that was Virgo. A7Ms are a very annoying plane to deal with. Luckily, I just managed to take his wing off in the last possible second. Fast forwarding just a bit here, I am now above 3 enemies. I go for the A6M3. And they're very squirrely, they're very hard to hit. Armax is above the Spitfire, I'm running away from the A6M. And I'm going to be able, as I'm exiting, to get a shot on the Spitfire. He's doing some really weird dodges, but I just managed to pull enough elevator authority to take his wing off. And that's what the LA-7 is very good at. Its elevator, especially at higher speeds, does not compress at all. Armax takes down the A6M. And yeah, that's the one thing I really love about the LS7s. It allows you to hit some crazy shots at high speed that you wouldn't really expect to hit, and it allows for some very crazy reversals. This plane has massive reversal potential. So now I'm just kind of starting to head back over towards the Spitfire. I'm surprised he's still alive. See the red dot on the minimap in the top right behind me. I'm not really paying attention to that right now. I probably should have been. I take a shot at Spitfire, I get a hit. I see an AI going down. Might as well. I get some damage. Extra points. But now the Spitfire is diving on me, and I'm only aware of that starting now. And so this is very dangerous. It is a Mark V. However, the speed he has coming out of the dive is almost going to be enough to catch me. Luckily, the LA-7 is probably, at its BR, the fastest prop at sea level, besides the Wyvern, in the entire game, which is very useful if you need to run away. So I'm easily running away from the Spitfire. A couple of Hispanos are hitting the ground next to me. Kind of scary, but the Spitfire eventually starts climbing away, realizing he's not going to catch me. Virgo starts to come in and help me. Spitfire shows signs of breaking off, so I'm going to send it. Spitfire keeps going vertical, thinking I'm not going to have enough energy to pitch up, but I'm an LA-7. Energy at sea level just doesn't count, and I am very easily able to pitch up into him. I get 2 severe damages, and he goes down pretty much instantly after that. Moving on to the next match, and you can see by the damage model on my plane, that's what happens to the LA-7 when you get hit by 150 cal. But I'm free to pitch up for this P61 because he's not paying attention. I take his wing and his tail off. P61s are surprisingly fragile for what they are, and it's kind of funny to watch them explode by a couple of cannon shells. Anyway, I start heading over towards the P63 because he is alone, as so am I. But I'm confident in this plane, even at this altitude, that my plane is going to be better in this situation. So I dodge the shot and I go up. P63, or King Cobra line in general, also has trouble at higher altitudes with their engine. Just managed to not get a shot, even though I have my landing flaps out. What I do here is I cut throttle to secure my position behind him. I don't know how that missed, maybe it just under lead. But now I am firmly planted on his 6, and there is nothing he's going to be doing. I get a hit, I get a fire, and I take his wing off in the 3rd burst. So now I start heading over towards the 109, trying to help my Yak 9 out. Unfortunately, I'm not able to get there in time, and the Yak-9 perishes. I go head on with the 109. He tries to take it with me. Kind of scary. But since I'm at low altitude, and since I have a higher energy state going into this fight, I go vertical, and there's not much he's going to be doing, even though he is a 109. I drop the takeoff flaps, pitch in, get a shot. Whiff a bit, but then I managed to take his right wing off. Now I level off, going back towards the middle of the map, just checking around, and I see a P-51 above me. For some reason, I keep flying straight. I don't know if I actually saw him the first time around. I see him in the recording clear as day now, but he appears again. The second time I actually do see him, so I start my shallow dive. It's P-51D, but I'm pretty sure that this was a full down tier, so it can't be a D-30, and so I'm confident that I will be able to reverse him. It's D-20. I turn back in front of his guns after dodging them. He's not fast enough, and I'm able to get a reversal, but my aim this game was not good at all. You can see I'm kind of spraying. All of my ammo is going down the drain right now. And right about here I realize that I only have 22 rounds of ammo left. And that's a big problem, because I have yet to hit this guy. So now I want to get really close to make sure he goes down. Take a shot, he gets severe damage, I hit him again. A P-51C comes out of nowhere, but since the P-51 got damaged and nothing came off of him, I'm pretty confident that his engine is dead. So I can start climbing back up the P-51C. I'm not going to be catching him here, but as long as I follow him, I'm going to have an opportunity as he tries and extends away to get more energy back. But he turns back in, surprisingly. So I go under. I only have 10 cannon shells here. And he goes up. And right now I'm just kind of trying to stay at the sea level, keep turning horizontally, try and keep my speed up, and right here I'm going to make it as hard as possible for him to get a shot on me. So I start rolling back and forth, just dodges 50 cals, go over his nose, I come back down, and I just miss. And now I have 6 cannon shells to my name. Luckily, nobody else has interrupted our fight, and the La-7 is much better suited in these types of fights. Especially since the P-51 is a 3.7 and it just doesn't have the engine to stay in this fight for a prolonged amount of time. And you can see, after diving on me, I get a good hit there. After diving on me, we have now equalized our energies. And I just missed the last shot. So now what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and successfully ram him. Because why not? Pretty fun to watch, huh? At this point, I don't think he knows that I am out of ammo. But what you can do here, actually, when you try and ram somebody, if you are cautious enough, you can actually get away with. So I definitely managed to ram the P-51 successfully in RTB. But moving on, we have a P-47 here. He was not paying attention, easy to dive on, and now I have an A6M3 diving on me. But I'm actually going slightly faster than, I believe I'm going slightly faster at least than his rip speed. And as long as I keep the straight line up, I'm not going to be losing speed, whereas if he doesn't climb with the energy he has, he's going to be losing a lot more speed. And so at this altitude, I'm going to be very handily running away from him and gaining altitude over him. So I start my shallow climb when I'm far enough away, and I'm just going to be completely leaving him in the dust here. And this is what you do in slower planes in the La-7, because most planes that are slower than you, even if they don't turn better than you, are just never going to catch you. And you can just do this, even with like American planes. And I see the Focke-Wulf 190 coming in to help me. I ping him for attack. The A6M3 doesn't see him yet. And I'm just waiting for him to make a move. And right at the second A6M3 starts dodging, I pitch back in. And now we are going to tag team this A6M3 until he dies. He pitches in for what I presume is a head-on, but I don't know. I don't know know what he was doing, but I turn his plane into a torpedo, kamikaze intended, and I climb away. Fast forwarding a bit here, I find myself flying away from a very dangerous plane, which is the P-59. He is faster than me, and he actually turns slightly better than me at high and low speeds, which is very scary. That plane is, as long as I stay out of its guns, not too big of a problem, but since he just catches me and kind of outperforms me in general, I'm going to have a very tough time with him if I don't get a reversal instantly. So after setting up for the reversal and making him turn away, I start spraying and I actually get a hit since he doesn't dodge properly. And now I'm able to kind of just pitch up after him. I keep spraying at him a bit. I get another hit on his tail, I believe. And I get another hit. I can keep pitching up after him. And his rudder is now gone. And so I'm not going to be having much more trouble cleaning him up here.
Attack the enemy!
But he is going to be a nuisance as long as he just kind of stays out of the guns. But eventually, if I'm careful enough and I dodge his shots, I will be just fine in taking him out. It's just going to take a second because this guy was just tanky this game. Like he just ate all of my shots. You can see right here I'm trying to tap on his pilot, and it looked like I got a couple of shots into the cockpit, but it just wasn't enough to kill his pilot. But since I'm so isolated over here in this fight, I'm able to dive down and just kind of be left alone with this guy. I hit him again, take his wingtip off, he goes into a flat spin, and that's my cue to leave and start helping out my teammates in the middle of the map. So, after climbing back above, I am now above 3 enemies, and I definitely want to get the Spitfire LF Mark 9 and the K-84 out first. So, I start by going for the K-84, I fake it, go for the head-on, which this is very risky, but luckily I end up one-shotting his engine, and the Spitfire is now no longer going to be a problem, which really helps the fight in this situation, because the LF Mark 9 was by far going to be the most annoying enemy. He turns better than me, he climbs with me, if not better than me, and is almost as fast as me. And it's just going to be a nuisance in general, because of the amount of insane power he has. So I go over the K-84's guns here, he dives away, and now it's all about maintaining my altitude over these two guys. K-84 goes under me, P-47 starts turning back into me, but I'm going to be able to get a quick shot. Unfortunately, I only get a hit. Suffers damages of tail, maybe a crit, it just may have not registered, but now I have to climb away. For some reason, my Focke-Wulf leaves me in the dust, leave me in a 1v2. But the LA-7, although being in a full up tier here, is pretty fit to handle these situations, especially at lower altitude. So now, I am going to be merging with the P-47 and then dodging him. I go up, dodges 50 cals, the K-84 starts turning back into me. I go to the right to exit away from the P-47 as well as distance myself from the K-84. The P-47 straight lines it, the K-84 starts climbing back up towards me, but he realizes he's not going to be able to get a shot. The that's not a Focke-Wulf, that's a 109. Starts attacking the K-84, and now since I have some help, I can be a bit more aggressive. P-47 comes in, I dodge over his guns, go back up, and this is where I maybe should have died. Luckily the K-84 has damages of his tail, 109's on him, and I have just enough speed to get out of his guns. So now I loop back down, the K-84 goes down, the P-47 is the last one left. That's just typical me being greedy, don't mind that. And it's pretty much over for the P-47. I take a shot, I turn him into a torpedo, and he hugs a tree. Moving on to the last game of the video here, we start off by diving to gain speed to dodge a 109. And again, I'm not trying to head on him here, I'm trying to bait him into a reversal. And at this altitude, it's going to be very hard to fight him. And you can realize here, or you can see here, that my engine power is just not enough to fight. There's There's another 109 coming in too. And assessing the situation, I just leave. I dive away, and they're not going to be catching me. Once that first supercharger gear kicks in below 3.4, I'm gone. He starts shooting with his 7.92s. Not too worrisome. Luckily, the high 109 breaks off, and this guy keeps following me. And the lower I go, the more of an advantage I get, especially the faster I go, because my elevator doesn't compress while his does. So, I'm getting ready to turn around. I start pulling 12 Gs. He's never going to be pulling that. I go up over his guns. I barrel roll back down on top of him. I get really close for the merge here to try and minimize the distance between ourselves or the reversal. I get a shot. I get his oil tank and probably his engine as well. And he's not going to get in the way. I start tapping the trigger. Sloppy aim. More sloppy aim. I don't know how that didn't hit. And yeah, it's just going to be like this until I take a swing off. There he goes. And he will not be recovering there. Fast forwarding just a bit, I have now climbed, and I am above a Focke-Wulf and at 109. This Focke-Wulf is going to have nowhere near enough energy to pitch up for me. It's an A1 actually, which is actually kind of dangerous compared to the A4, since his performance is better in like a turning fight or an energy fight. But he's a Focke-Wulf A. He's not going to be pitching up to me, especially since I'm an LA7 with a higher energy state. I spray, I take his left wing off, and now I can focus on the 109, who would also stall below me for some reason. I don't know why, but since I'm able to pull in because of my high-speed turn, I get an easy shot, clear his wingtip, and I'm out. Fast forwarding once again, we now have a 109 diving on me. Luckily, I am isolated from this fight. However, my team is dead at this point, and soon enough, every single enemy in the entire game is going to converge on me. This 109 is slightly hesitant to dive down on me, so I start shallow climbing, just to kind of gain some altitude to work with. And when he gets closer, I start slightly turning in, kind of baiting him down further. At these speeds, he's not going to be able to get a shot. I dodge his guns, go over, and he actually tries to take the turning fight with me. I just miss, but I'm going to have enough energy to go vertical once again. Just kidding. I leave because he does have more energy than me here, but since the LA7 does accelerate quite quickly and it works better at higher speeds, I'm going to be getting a bunch more energy before I turn back into him to try and reverse him again. I turn down, I'm pulling 9 Gs, he's not going to be pulling anywhere near that. I dodge under and then back up, and now he's too close to try and really get away from me. However, my aim just wasn't the best this game. As you can see, he's neg-G'ing all the way over the place. P-38 appears, and then the entire enemy team will also eventually appear, and it's just not going to be a good situation. There they are. There's the horde. I get a hit. It's just not going to be enough, but I turn back into the P-38. I'm not going to be able to go head on with him, so I dodge under. Misses, and now I have to actually just book it. I have to leave. So after literally 10 minutes of running, I finally get enough separation between the group after some people go ground pounding to 1v1 a 109. So I'm going to start shallow diving, gain some speed, and I'm going to dodge under his guns. However, he goes up, and if he went straight up, I may have not gotten a shot, but he actually spirals, allowing me to cut inside of his turn, and I'm going to get 1 or 2 shots here before I stall out. My 3rd burst gets a severe damage, that's probably his engine, and my 4th burst takes him out, just before I stall. And now, I have to fight the Talon 5-4, but as long as I dodge the head-on, and as long as I don't fly in front of his guns again, he is not going to have a single chance to win this dogfight. So I'm just gaining speed, trying to dodge his guns. Those get a bit close, those also get a bit close, but once I get past the head-on again, it's over for him. He has absolutely no chance in a low-altitude dogfight against an LA-7, even when I'm damaged. He does a weird roll thing. I don't know what that was. But all I have to do is just kind of keep going up and over him. I have a tighter turning radius. I get the stall shot, and I one-shot his tail. So after I RTB, I find myself behind a P-38, but unfortunately the tickets run out just before I am able to get 6 kills, and the game ends. So that's going to do it for the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys have any suggestions for planes that I should fly out in my future vids, just comment down below. I'm open to suggestions. And yeah, thanks for watching. I will see you guys in the next one.